are these people?
IndependentLeft.news. Indie.
What's up, Indie?
IndieNews.Network.
Indie.
I get news from Independent Left.
IndependentLeft.news.
IndependentLeft.news.
Indie Left Media.
Independent Left News.
Indie Left.
Independent Left News.
Independent Left Media.
Indie Media.
Indie Left.
Indie.
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 Indie Left News.
Indie Left.
Hi, Indie.
Indie Left News.
Subscribe to IndieNews.Network.
We're world building.
Your way of assisting, I feel like, is really cool.
IndependentLeft.news.
Independent Left News.
I'm a huge fan.
He created INN.
The founder of Independent News Network.
Indie is the founder of IndieNews.Network.
Thank you, IndependentLeft.news.
A huge thank you and shout out to Indie Left.
Everyone, check out Indie Left News.
Hey, Indie Left.
IndependentLeft.news.
Indie. Indie.
Hi, Indie.
Indie Left. Indie Left News.
Indie News.
Independent Media.
Independent Left News has done an amazing job.
How Do We Miss That? Is a show, podcast, streaming live on Rockfin, YouTube, Twitch, Rumble, and we are on Rumble. How Do We Miss That has a Rumble channel. Rumble.com/c/How Did We Miss That? You spell it all the way out. We're also live on Facebook, Twitter, and we're on How Do We Miss That's Twitter tonight as well. Twitter.com/How Do We Miss That? And you have to cut off the T, and that's How Do We Miss That's Twitter. We're also live on Odyssey and Telegram. We're on Indie Left News' Telegram. Sunday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Available also on all the podcast platforms like Spotify, where we're now loading video podcasts. Co-hosted, I'm Indy, as it says on the thing, but for the people on the podcast, I'm Indy. Hi. I'm founder and editor of Indie Left News and IndieMedia.today. That's our Substack. And I got this guy sitting next to me, Reef Breland. He's INN's technical director. He's the host of Reef After Dark and INN News also. We're both co-founding members of IndieNews.Network, a collaborative family of independent content creators, one of the largest out there. Love the fam. Shout out to IndieNews.Network. Go follow all of our family and go check out all our channels there. And we're live on all the Indie News Network channels except for Rockfin. Figure we only need one Rockfin channel. We don't need a second one for that. Okay, all the
Independent News Network.
Oh, right. Yeah. Very yes. Thanks, Warren. Shout out to Warren Extra Buoy. I'm sure he's in the chat if he's not already. Also to Nikki, Radical Leftist Agenda, to all of our patrons. Again, all the stories were included that we're going to cover tonight were included in IndependentLeft.news between Sunday and Friday. It's impossible to keep up with this fire hose of developing news all week long. And our amazing friends and partners in independent media doing amazing. I mean, there's so much to cover. They're hitting us from every angle. So we're just going to pull a few stories that I really didn't see anybody else talking about very much. And again, I got to say a big thank you. We're nothing without the people that put this together. And that's Bigmadcrab, who helps us every week with our thumbnails and all of our creative and all of our art. And Greg, you're amazing. He also does music and a whole lot more. Jimi, Sunderland at IMIJ Productions, at Jimi Saves World. Check her out. Thank you so much for that trailer. Again, every week, it makes me smile. Fantomas, Fanto cuts our video clips every week. Thank you for that. Fred Edward, resident skeptic, Chris Gilman at the end. They're clutch over on the socials. We started a network. We got together with a bunch of these younger channels and smaller channels that have been come on the scene in about the last year and a half that have been making a splash. And we all have some really strong things to bring to the table, but everybody's kind of incomplete. And I felt we all were, and myself included. And we can benefit in so many different ways from a central platform where we can collaborate, co-stream, share resources. There's so many different things, positives that can come out of it. So I reached out to some of the people that we cover in Independent Left News and said, hey, what do you think about this idea? And everyone was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yep.
And so Indie News Network was born. We had our first conference call in mid-October. We started to plan out what this would look like and how this would be, and we're still forming it, and we're still getting things together. And the plan for our first network live stream as a group is going. We're hoping will be Monday night. We want to leave this weekend for FHL and for the General Strike Summit. We do have 5 of our members that are speaking at the summit, which is great.
Yep.
So you can see here on my screen, I've got a list of photos and channel names and people for all the people that are in here. But there's a lot of unique elements. So I will just go through this really quickly and read it because I actually wrote it. And I don't usually write very much stuff, but independent media is expanding almost infinitely on a weekly basis, it seems. New channels, new platforms, new personalities are constantly emerging, taking advantage of the latest technology. As an independent content creator, it's virtually impossible to keep up with it all. So in that vein, a group of us have recognized and decided that collaborating creates multiple opportunities and combining our efforts can make us all better. So we're excited and proud to introduce you to the founding channels, people and writers collaborating to form the Indie News Network. Each member already has their own established channels, shows, content, and fans, which they will retain, continuing to build and grow. Each network member will be able to co-publish and co-stream to the network channels whenever they go live, or upload a new video, or publish a new article, or a new podcast episode. Streamers can also use the network Substack to alert email subscribers when they go live and share a link to Twitter with the stream embedded. What do we have in common? Lots. We're all relatively new to indie content creation space. All started within the past 2 years. Some more recent than that. We all believe in uncorrupted representation. We're all anti-imperialist, anti-monopolistic, anti-fascist. We all challenge narratives and have seen that 20 multi-billion-dollar owned media behemoths control 95% of what America sees and hears, and went looking for the unbiased truth, free from the influence of big pharma, big banks, the military-industrial complex, and big tech. Well, almost free of big tech.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing exclusive network roundtables, frequency and daytime still to be determined. Stay tuned, really. And we'll be launching other network exclusive mashups, collabs with other networks like Fred Hampton Leftists and the MCSC network, and new shows. The plan at first is to have a presence on 9 platforms to start. So we already have channels set up on YouTube, Substack, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Odyssey, Rumble, and Patreon. Links to all the members' YouTube pages, Substacks, and or Medium. Seb Solomon has Medium and Twitter handles below. And I know Rob Durden did a video about this, and he introduced every one of the members. Again, I've been watching all of these channels and staying in touch and friendly with all of these folks. And I'm just so excited about everything I've seen. And just it's been amazing to see the collaboration, to see the work that people have put in already, the way that people have been meeting each other and going on each other's shows and having conversations and really helping all of us grow and become a force together, where INN really just arrived on the scene like week 1, and it's happened quickly, and it's been a lot of fun. So Robert Durden is he's a badass, man. He'll punch you in the mouth. He's a doctor, so he's been to medical school. He's got some pretty interesting takes and advice on COVID and the jabs, but he's got Political Fight Club, and you know the rule is you do talk about Political Fight Club. Really fun channel to watch. He's funny. He roasts people, but he also's got some strong takes on.
He did. When we first started talking to him, he went on stream with Branko talking about, like how networks should be brought together and stuff like that, and how they're not exploitative and all that stuff. Super good.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That was one of my, like, the guy's been killing it,
yeah. He also talks about, who's been moving up and down. I like he's doing these little kind of power rankings, and he talks about who's moving up, who's killing it out there, and who's really helping to change the narrative and to challenge what the corporate narrative is, and challenge the people that are out there trying to hold us down.
I popped the link tree in the chat for everyone if everyone wants to go there and
Excellent.
find
Yeah, if you go to
the new INN stuff.
Yeah, you go to IndieNews.Network is the website. Find all the links
Click
and
that
channels.
Click that link for me real quick. Right? See if that link actually works. Okay, it works
Sure.
for you. Why didn't it work for me? Weird. I had to
I
go
don't
to the
know.
regular link tree to find it.
Oh, that's weird.
So, yeah.
That's not.
I don't
That's
know.
no bueno. Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, you see,
I'll try to get in a
this is the
minute,
Instagram-friendly version in square
Yep.
format. Again, all these channels are set up already. We haven't really been posting enough to it, but starting to. We were pretty active on
Yep.
Twitter this weekend with the General Strike Summit so far, and plan to be tomorrow as well. But
Yep.
really excited about this. So the 16 members again are Robert Durden. We've got Tara Reid. Everybody knows who Tara Reid is. I don't think she needs any introduction. She's fantastic, and she was
She
so
got love for
so
putting
good.
out our friend
last
the
night.
Dissident. You know,
Right,
If you're
right.
watching Haas. Hi, how you doing?
What's up, Hassan? So the Dissident put out a Substack this week that FHL put out, that Tara retweeted, and that Hassan quote tweeted, and all of a sudden we were off to the races.
He's
Okay,
been
we've got.
unhappy. So unhappy.
Oh no, he's not unhappy. He's
He just needs a hug. Big ol' hug.
he's doing just fine. He's not even worried about us. It's all good, man.
No.
So Elias Cepeda, he's an former MMA fighter, a writer, a trainer, a Substacker. He worked for Sports Illustrated. He's worked for some other large multimedia conglomerates, but now he's
He
independent.
was on with Savage Joy and so
And he was on with
Been doing good
the
stuff.
FHL guys. I know he just did something with Left Reckoning as well. Then we've got Todd from Be the Change. He's just started streaming after the March for Medicare for All. I caught his first stream. He started doing. He mentioned something about Assange, and our Discord bot picks up anyone that does any kind of an Assange stream. And I was like, oh, let me check this guy out. And he's fiery, but he's got a lot of good knowledge, and he's got great takes, and he's reading a lot of the same articles that we feature in Indie Left News. Like, wow, this guy's really good. And I've seen him start to grow already, and people are really figuring out that he's got it. So I'm so proud to have him part of this, and that he decided to join us. So excited about that. Got Bess from Millennial Splaining. Again, she's doing a podcast for the most part, but they are doing also some YouTube videos and clips as well of episodes. I actually recorded an episode with her that I'm excited to hear. We talked, gosh, it was already probably a month or 6 weeks ago. So we'll see how that aged and what that looks like afterwards. I think it was actually even before I had asked her to become part of this network. And this didn't. Where is Reef from? Lucky Burrito's asking. Reef is from
Florida.
Reef is from Florida.
Yep.
So Reef is actually part of the network too. So you see his picture in there with a little Reefer After Dark logo. So Reefer is definitely part of this. And I skipped ahead, but we got Lucy with Blue Moon Red Wine. If I did this, I'd be here for an hour, and we do have articles to cover. Okay, Seb Solomon, Gnomes for Truth. Everyone in the Discord community knows Seb's very well. She writes fantastic Medium articles under Gnomes for Truth. It used to be under a different name, but she renamed it. Love her stuff. She's been doing great work into crypto and deep diving into exactly what the benefits or the drawbacks of crypto are, and where the dangers and pitfalls are, and how it is really just another version of a digital central currency, not as decentralized as it's being sold. But follow her work for sure. Gnomes for Truth, Medium. She's also going to be co-publishing to the IndieNews.Network Substack. We've got Colin Radix Carter, who's probably in the chat right now or was before. Kamalo Makwano. I've said it like 100 times and I still get tongue-tied with it. Focused on East Africa issues, but he's also going to be doing some other streams. He's talking to some other folks locally about teacher issues, education issues, about economic issues, general strike issues. Colin himself is a preschool, pre-K teacher, I believe. So he brings a really interesting perspective, and I love his stuff. Colin and I have known each other for a year and a half. We met through the Discord community, and we both started our shows pretty recently, and he fits perfectly with what we're trying to do here and who we're trying to reach. So we're so glad to have him part of this, and welcome to the family. And this is what we're building as a family. And then we've got Tatami, and Tatami's so spiritual, and Tatami's diary. She's been on YouTube a little longer than some. She's got almost 2,000 people following her, and she does crafts. She makes art, and she gives her take. She only really started paying attention to politics a year and a half ago, I think she said, or not that long ago. But she figures out a way to tie it into stories, and I love her videos. I think I can't hear you for a second, Reef. I don't know if you're muted.
I got you.
You're good.
Yep.
So then we've got Noli D. Noli D, everybody seems to know Noli D to the point where she started a channel on YouTube, and she's bigger than all of us. She's incredible. We love her. She also supports tons of people on the back end. She works with the Police Accountability Report. She works with the Real News Network, and she's a connector. She's just one of those people who are special on the back end. And but she also has a YouTube channel, and she puts out videos about police videos and holding police accountable, and we love her channel as well. So she's certainly welcome, and so glad she also decided that she wanted to join. And I think everybody knows Daryl from Black and the Empire on Twitter. So when I heard that he was going to be starting a channel and starting to do some videos, when I saw him on the Fred Hampton Leftist stream, I said, oh my goodness, well, there's got to be a spot for Daryl here in INN. So if by all means, and one of the things that Daryl said in our first call was that, some of the tech he doesn't really know that well, and that was preventing him from maybe wanting to do streams and going live. And we're like, well, that's kind of what the network is going to do, is you're going to be able to have the resources to get the skills or have the help to be able to do what you need to go live. We're going to have producers, and we're going to have graphic editors, and we're going to have audio editors, so that we'll be able to back each other up, and we'll be able to pull our resources. Of course, you've got Independent Left News and Leftist.today. Of course, and how did we miss that? We'll be a part of the network, and we are co-streaming right now to IndieNews.Network, YouTube, and to all 4 of the properties. We did not do an Odyssey one yet. I don't think we can go live yet from Odyssey. And then we've got Uncle Warren with Extra Bulla. Extra booyah! Extra booyah! Wardeer Entertainment. We love his stuff. He's just comic relief so far. Extra booyah. He's a place to hang out and cut loose. Reef was on the show this past week. He's also interviewed Misty, and he's had Fiorella on. He's gonna have Rick Overton on soon. I know he was with Franco this week, and everybody can just kind of relax and shoot shit and talk a little bit of stories and a little bit about their background and how they arrived at where they got to, and things that you don't necessarily hear about when you're watching their channel. So that's a lot of fun. Then you've got a couple of other writers. The Dissident, he writes the Substack called The Dissident, the 307.substack.com. By all means, check that out. He's also co-publishing to the INN Substack. And then just today, Kobe from the Pro Peace Report did an environmental panel at the Fred Hampton General Strike Summit. See,
Words.
I just got tripped up. Words. And he also published and did an article and a video on his channel, his Substack, and to the Indie News Network stuff. So yeah. Wow, that was a mouthful. I said a lot. But yeah, we're really excited about all of this. This is a new thing, but this is going to grow. We are planning on filing as a nonprofit organization. We are not looking to make bank from this for anyone. What we are looking to do is benefit the rest of the community from this, and to donate proceeds or to donate them to the individual channels and support all of these channels to help them be able to get the tech that they need and be able to get all the things that they need. But again, as a charitable org, we could potentially take some donations and apply for grants. And that's something that Noli has talked about having experience with. So I'm excited for all of this.
Me too.
And I'm ready to take on all the added responsibility, whatever it is. And hopefully it's not going to be very much for very many of us. I mean, we've got the creative pretty much built. We've got the channel set up. Somebody needs to maintain that. We'll work on finding some channel managers, and all of us work collaboratively.
Musicians and stuff like that would also be nice. Web devs, like we've got a list, but
and we'll all work collaboratively together. We all have a network of resources who can work together to try to build this thing. And as we take in money, not for profit doesn't mean not for money. We will be able to pay people and not just do everything on a volunteer basis at some point. So not yet. This is all volunteer right now. We're all just pooling our resources for just dedicating and donating our time to it, because it's really we all see it as a value add, and that could be important for all of us, and to help us all grow, help us all get the right messaging out, and help us overcome the algorithm and the corporate machine that's trying to hold all this independent messaging down. And maybe by amplifying each other's messaging and having our audiences overlap and work together, we can overcome some of that. So again,
did you see my microphone shirt for INN?
Oh,
this one.
Snap! Look at that, man. That's sweet.
This is an old one I've had forever, but
wow,
it works. So, but I just thought it was funny. I didn't even notice it till just now. I was like, "Oh, I'm wearing the INN microphone."
Oh my goodness! Look at that. So, this is the website. It's IndieNews.Network, INDIE News.Network, or Linktree, linktr.ee .indie/IndieNews.Network. And this is the links to all of the channels that are set up. We did set up a Patreon that, again, still trying to figure out exactly what the donations are going to do. Right now, I don't even think that we're hooked up to a bank account or PayPal or anything. Anything, we can just hook it up to Indie Left, and I will get it over to whatever we set up.
Well, you better get hip to Indie Left. Indie Left. IndieNews.Network.
We published a new updated article, and this was a collaboration of even more INN members, including Reef himself, who went and got a statement from Max Alvarez. And we're going to go through that. I want to go through that toward the end.
Us, would you?
What's that? Sorry?
Zoom that in for us.
Zoom that in. Okay. I will zoom that in.
Zoom.
I don't want to go too big a zoom. Shake the rump. So, again, Breaking Point's billionaire funding ties, and the story behind Breaking Points and Max Alvarez. So again, I'm just going to read through it. It's not that long. In our last article, we investigated the link and the funding sources behind the hosts of Breaking Points and the satellite affiliates, the Realignment Podcast, The Intercept, and Big by Matt Stoller. As detailed prior, the hosts of Breaking Points and some of their mentioned affiliates have ties in previous or current roles to either the Hudson Institute, and they fund Marshall and Sager's Realignment Podcast, Pierre Omidyar of The Intercept, Reid Hoffman, who has ties to Crystal Ball, APAC with David Sirota, or other conservative, pro-war, historically anti-China DC think tanks funded by big businesses like the Hoover Institute and the Lincoln Network, who are linked to Raytheon, of course, and we heard about that on Savvy Show. Okay, and I want to show this video by INN member Joe. If you're not following him, it's twitter.com/@STFU shitlib. He's the best. I love Joe. He's so funny. He makes videos of fire. This is a couple of minutes long. I'm going to mute my thing, but we should be good because this is Cable Seat Alive. Fingers crossed this is going to work.
Hey guys, it's Crystal.
And Sagar, we have an amazing announcement for you. We are starting a brand new, totally independent show. Could not be more excited about it. We want to compete with CNN, Fox News, MSNBC. They've got endless resources, but we've got you.
Guys, if you haven't canceled your Breaking Points subscription to, I don't know what you're doing. Get on it. These people are literally like promoting economic warfare and real warfare with China. Should not be giving them your money.
That's something else that we're really proud of, is that the audience has really different views across the entire spectrum.
No one's actually holding these fucks accountable because they brainwashed their entire audience into thinking that we should be going to war with China.
Breaking Points is building a network with most of the same issues as corporate media, and he says got to give the viewers of Breaking Points what they want. So who is the viewers?
This mic's pretty low.
This is a question they've asked. If China were to invade Taiwan, would you support the United States coming to Taiwan's defense?
Yeah, that's a right-wing charge.
57% said yes.
Now we are able to partner with all of these great people.
Shut the fuck up, Sagar.
So that's the main graphic for everybody together. Breaking Points asked the guy that's against force to vote. What is happening over here with Breaking Points? Just weird, like, conflicts of interest of him pushing the Democratic Party, and he happened to be married to a Democrat. And then there was one video I was watching when he was like, yeah, I know some Democrats, and I paused it. I paused it, Rome, and I was like, what do you mean you know so many Democrats? You're fucking a Democrat. Yeah. Breaking Points as the team who censored Glenn Greenwald. And Sabrina, aka Sabby Sab, she put the right comment up for this next graphic, and that is for Marshall K.
Go fuck yourself, you fucking egghead nerd. I don't give a fuck about your committee shit. Why don't you stop saying that stupid shit?
That's directed at Matt.
It's a tumultuous time. It's a sad time.
It is.
And it's a dangerous time.
Yes, it is.
But there is not a reason to give up on the fact that every day, the harder we work and the more people that we expand and more, that we actually can change with the status quo. You know, change feels like it's not happening, and then it happens all at once.
Shut the fuck up, Sagar.
What does this say to you? Does this scream revolution? Does this scream this scream urgency?
We want to continue to upgrade this studio. We need to fix some of the lights.
Shut the fuck up, Sagar.
Yeah,
Not
gotta
everything's
give them
propaganda. Sagar is just an anti-China
Not
hack
everything's
who comes from the
propaganda.
Hudson Institute, which is one of the most anti-China conservative think tanks on the planet.
So look, guys, if you can help us out, you know, I know how hard you guys work, and I know how hard it is out there, inflation and all that.
Shut the fuck up, Sagar.
We need to fix some of the lights.
Shut the fuck up, Sagar.
You know, if you're used to consuming mainstream news content,
Yeah.
and you're not used to watching YouTube shows, and you see something that has, you know, a more minimalist background or more casual vibe to it, then I think there is a natural instinct to be like, that's not serious.
That's
It's not real.
They have 80,000 people subscribed to them
Yeah.
now. Think of the minds that they are poisoning. Think
800,000.
about all the rage that people have built up inside of them that they are keeping down. They are letting out people fire.
And if you can really support us, become a founding member. It's a one-time payment of $1,500.
Shut the fuck up, Sagar.
So fuck Marshall, fuck Kyle, fuck all these people. These people are our opposition, and we need to treat them like so.
But you're
Shut the
cool.
fuck up, Sagar.
Who are these people?
Thank you, Nancy. We are INN. And that is STFU Joe. And thank you for cutting that. And that was awesome and fire. And shut the fuck up, Sagar. Oh my God, I love that. I could listen to that all day. Just Hinkle's live also, but you know, everybody, he's awesome. Shout out to Hinkle on there and Jimi yelling at Stoller, and yeah, it's good.
Speakers.
Fuck you.
Thank you. What? Hey, speakers. What? Speakers.
I wish I knew why it did that when I every time if I click it for the first time.
That was really interesting. Okay, so Crystal and Sagar position the show as user-funded and independent, but that's not exactly true. When much of the source of the host's wealth and income, which helped or helps fund the show, comes directly from orgs connected to either the military-industrial complex or billionaires trying to buy the neoliberal political landscape who partner with other billionaires' philanthropic tax write-offs to finance independent media. So it's not terribly surprising to find Sagar and Marshall's foreign policies, which align with the neocon think tanks funding them, seeping into Breaking Point's coverage. Crystal may rail against the Democrats' corruption, but offers no alternative solutions, i.e. direct action, mutual aid, pulling support and funding for Democratic candidates in favor of independents and third parties, which results in shepherding people back toward the Democrats, a corporate-controlled entity where citizens have little influence over policy. Viewers need to keep this in mind when watching to determine for themselves how biased the segment may be towards a certain perspective and why the hosts are supporting a certain or arguing against a certain perspective. So,
yep,
that's and somebody actually commented on the YouTube or either on the Substack or on the YouTube on with Sabby, but they said that this was really the crux of it right there, is that no alternative solutions and not pushing for anything different other than back toward, well, but let's vote for somebody running for office and in the exact same current system, and they're going to change the system from inside, and we all know how that works out. So I want to look at the ties between Crystal Ball and Reid Hoffman. Of course, we do know that Reid Hoffman in 2018 funded the People's House Project, which was a super PAC or a PAC that Crystal had set up. Again, we went through that in the Sabby thing to support candidates in Virginia and Appalachia on the Democratic side. They were paid over $500,000, I believe, in total by Reid Hoffman over the 2 years. Over the 2 years, Crystal was paid out over $273,000, but all the records showed that only $48,000 was paid out to actual candidates and paid to campaigns. And that was through FEC filings. And we have the receipts for that. But what's really, there's some fascinating stuff that's come out about Reid Hoffman, and I don't know how connected they still are to this day. However, a lot of the money that she probably had, and again, I know that her husband was wealthy, but close ties, why she's hired, this close connection, corporate media prior, I've got to start asking some serious questions about how independent is Crystal about independent media. I know she's trying to bootstrap them, they call it, but it's corporate think speak and corporate head towards Democratic Party speak too often. And so she's never explained what happened to the money and what happened with the PAC. All right. And again, funded directly through Reid Hoffman, notorious Russiagator, anti-Trumper, former member of the board of directors at PayPal. This is where we get into it. PayPal's really an interesting connection here. But this in-depth interview, which I picked out with Reid Hoffman from 2012, a guy flies on his private plane with him, and it's really interesting. The guy, he's gushing about him. And it's actually, he says this admiringly, but the way I saw it was also that his enormous wealth helped him grow a savior complex. So again, that a small number of humans virtually have no constraints on their decision-making, and Reid is one of them. When he chose to fly to Las Vegas and speak at this event, the list of things he chose not to do with his time was very, very long. So often he wrestles with those trade-offs. Okay, he says, I wake up in the morning unsure of whether I want to savor the world or save the world. And what he really wants to do is save. He wants to use his talent and network and money to change the world for the better and solve some of humanity's problems. Again, the problem is the perspective and who he's funding and where it's going and who he supports. And look, he helped fund the Shadow app. He was involved in developing the Shadow app in 2020. He's not a friend to the progressive left. He is funding the Democratic Party across. But we also found out that he has been funding a Republican candidate by the name of, Liz Cheney for Wyoming. $2,900 max donation. Now, he did not donate. Yeah, and he did it through
Are you kidding me?
He did it through Greylock, which is one of his entities. He didn't donate through LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn, as you know, can make larger donations. He didn't do it through their PAC or through Greylock Partners. This is just one of his other businesses, but he also is donating to Mark Kelly and mainstream Democrats. I know it's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can blow this up. Here you go. Okay, so the point is he's donating to Spamberger and Tim Kaine. So those are conservative. And then you've got Mike Levin and Katie Porter. Those are progressives. You've got mainstream. You've got Mark Kelly, the astronaut. You've got Digidems. All he's doing is donating money to Dems and another. Let's just make sure that the anti-Trumpers are taken care of too. Liz Cheney. There you go. There's a couple grand. And that was just this year, February 24th of this year, maxed out donation to her primary. And I guarantee now that she's won her primary, there will be another filing that shows another $2,900. All right. Now, that's from fec.gov. Everybody can go to the article. Let's drop the article link again in the chat. I think the article might even, the link might be in the doobly-doo, but let's put it in the chat. Anybody wants to go and see any of this stuff. Again, just prior to publishing, Wired Magazine publishes this piece on Reid Hoffman, which is retweeted by the wonderful, lovely, amazing Whitney Webb of Unlimited Hangout. Go subscribe to Unlimited Hangout. Support independent content creators. Support independent journalists. She's one of the best there is. Love her to death. Thank you, Whitney, for all you do. Appreciate you. So, Reid Hoffman says, quote, "When I was 12, sketching out a plan I can remember to change the world, where my friends and I would get to all various positions of power. And what did he want to do? Become director of the CIA."
Oh, God. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's bad.
Like
30 likes, that's all. Oh, my God. I thought Wired Magazine had a lot more jack than that. But, man, Twitter engagement's way down. So the link to Crystal, I don't know how current it is, but I know that if he picked up the phone and called her, she would probably take his phone call. But that's speculation. Based upon their relationship and what he is and what he does and how he's supported her, I'm guessing she's going to take his text or his call. I don't know how active they are in talking now. But I know that he loves to fund. I know that he loves to fund independent media, and fund narratives, and hey, this guy does too. Hey, Pierre. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope everybody has washed their hind ends because Uncle Warren has entered the chat. All right, so Uncle Warren.
Fam?
Extra Booyah, we shouted out, congratulations on your new Rockfin channel, rockfin.com/extra booyah. Go sign up, go follow up for free. You'll be watching his Thursday night shows. You'll get his secret shows. We're not going to tell you when they're going to be, but they're going to be late night, I promise. And there'll be occasional interviews, and it's just a hilariously good time all the time with Uncle Warren. Love him to death and appreciate you being part of INN. So, we want to get into Pierre. Pierre Omidyar, founder of The Intercept, billionaire, financier, and philanthropist, served as Reid Hoffman's boss while Hoffman was EVP at PayPal. And there's our quote from Tech Tycoons, saying that Hoffman joined PayPal as member of board of directors at the founding of the company, became EVP from 2000 to 2002. He was responsible for all external relationships of PayPal, including the one with eBay. So they're both known as members of a club, of course, known as the PayPal Mafia. I think it's been talked about quite a bit. Also include, most famously, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. Elon Musk from Tesla, SpaceX, and Tesla, but that should be the boring company, and now Twitter. Peter Thiel from Facebook, Palantir, and now Rumble and Locals, and the parent that owns that. I don't remember the 4-digit stock symbol. Members of this group are and have been highly influential in determining how media today is presented, consumed, how narratives are crafted and delivered, as well as hiring the executives to craft them and funding these endeavors. So, just last month, Alan McLeod wrote this incredibly long and in-depth piece for Mint Press News detailing Omidyar's media influences, and it's titled, "How One of America's Premier Data Monarchs is Funding a Global Information War and Shaping the Media Landscape." Now, I'm sure you're well aware of what's been going on with PayPal and defunding and canceling the accounts of independent content creators that are challenging narratives, specifically on the Ukraine-Russia, and prior on COVID, and always on Israel-Palestine. As recently as 2017, Omidyar and Hoffman partnered to create Ethics and Governance of Artificial Intelligence Fund, each contributing $10 million. With Phil Knight of the Nike Foundation, from Nike fame, they are and have been intricately connected in shaping the technology world together for decades. And it's between PayPal and 2017, they definitely did projects together and had influences on media and tried to shape things. Now, we're going to include this section from our prior article that the Dissident wrote up, as it's relevant here, to further evidence Omidyar's influence in media and more over world affairs. Okay, so journalist Mark Ames, and he's another one who's shadow banned and reports on crimes of Western governments that are that the media tries to cover up. He reported on leaked documents that show Pierre funded the 2014 Maidan coup in Ukraine, which kind of is responsible for why we are where we are right now, along with other Western governments, of course. In a separate 2019 lengthy investigation into Pierre Omidyar, Alex Rubinstein from Mint Press as well reported that he uses his wealth to advance Washington's policy of regime change and partner with CIA cutouts such as USAID and the NED, which fund independent quote-unquote media outlets like Bellingcat. There's Bellingcat popping up. Blumenthal and Rubinstein wrote. Okay, and I don't think it was actually Blumenthal, but I know it was Alex Rubinstein. Quote, behind the image he's cultivated of himself as a progressive philanthropreneur, Omidyar has wielded his empire, his media empire, to advance the Washington consensus in strategic hotspots around the globe. His fortune helped found an outlet to propel a destabilizing coup in Ukraine. He's helped establish a network of oppositional youth activists and bloggers in Zimbabwe. And in the Philippines, he's invested in oppositional news site that is honing corporate surveillance techniques like a mood meter to capture non-rational reactions. Oh, that's dangerous. Meanwhile, he's partnered closely with the leading arms of U.S. soft power from U.S. Agency for International Aid and Development, that's USAID, and the National Endowment for Democracy, the NED, acting as a conduit for information warfare-style projects in countries around the world. And again, it's pretty well established that USAID and NED are cutouts for Western intelligence, CIA and MI5, 6, and UK intel, Australian as well. Five Eyes.
007.
Yep. So you've got this guy Pierre, you've got Reid Hoffman, you've got 30 billionaires, not dirty necessarily, but billionaires that like to control media, and they're pretty closely connected with these folks. I'm not going to say that they're funding this show directly. I can't connect that, and I don't want to speculate that. However, Pierre funds The Intercept still. The Intercept is one of the partners. They are pushing talking points from Bellingcat. Bellingcat is funded again by State Department talking points, CIA talking points, military intelligence talking points from UK, and it's something we need to keep our eye on. Again, I do not say to dismiss their content entirely. I say to take this information into account when you're watching an anti-China story. Who's funding their anti-China rhetoric, and why are they pushing that? And who around them is going to benefit from this type of rhetoric? Now, I want to let Reef kind of talk a little bit about this section here, because this was his great work in uncovering what happened here with Max. He did a little bit of follow up on this tweet. So go ahead, man.
So Max is one of the only ones with any like actual publicly available means to contact him, for the most part, other than maybe a direct Twitter DM to other groups that are affiliated, which, Sirota still has me blocked, and I think you blocked, so we couldn't get him. But Max has an email, so I decided to email him, and apparently I wasn't the only one, because he already had a tweet saying
here's the
essentially
tweet.
that, right, so that Max apparently says that he needs to address a rumor. No, the real news has not merged with @Points community, and that's Breaking Points' Twitter, right? We remain an independent nonprofit network, and all our stuff is exclusively posted on our channels. I produce a bi-weekly labor video for BP and get paid $300 as a freelancer. That's it. So he brings me that tweet, and he continues. So I think it's perfectly reasonable for folks to have questions about this, and I've been nothing but open with all who ask me about it. I was approached by BP in April and asked if I would be interested in hosting a labor-focused segment every 2 to 3 weeks that would air on the BP YouTube channel. I would basically be a freelance correspondent and get paid $300 per video. If a video went viral and could be monetized, I would get a small percentage of that on top of the $300. But with worker and labor focused videos, that hardly ever happens. That really is the extent of the partnership. I write all the scripts after work hours, and none of TRNN's resources go into producing the BP segments. The Real News is and will remain an independent, viewer-supported, nonprofit news network. BP does not get to publish any of our video, audio, text content. We don't get to publish any of theirs. They get no money from us. We get none from them. The payment for each segment goes to me as the freelancer, being Max. It was agreed that I would be able to highlight clips from the Real News Network reports, which accompanying TRNN branding in my segments if I so wished, but these clips would be integrated into a segment independently produced and published by the BP team. I said yes because it was an opportunity to highlight the reporting we do at the Real News and to help the worker stories we spend so much time and effort on reach a broader audience. For all the time, effort, and resources we pour into the labor coverage every week at TRNN, getting people to watch, listen, to read, and support that reporting is a never-ending struggle, and we, specifically me, are not serving the workers who entrust us with their stories if we are not doing everything we can to make sure people actually see them. Before making any decisions, I consulted with TRNN staff, and we came to a democratic consensus that me doing this segment for BP under the terms of this agreement was worthwhile and would not compromise the Real News Network's independence or editorial mission. So far, I produced 3 segments of The Art of Class War for the BP channel, and he lists said videos.
1, 2, and 3. We've embedded those in the Substack so you can watch it. Okay, and he says, again,
hope that clarifies things. Thanks a bunch, M.
And we find it interesting, again, that the Real News and Max and possibly others were unaware that they were going to be mentioned in this way on the stream, and that their logo would be put up there on
or at
screen.
least that, right, and that the specifics wouldn't be necessarily focused on, and that video is still up. I haven't heard Breaking Points clarify this yet.
That tweet also with the
and we imagine
affiliates from
that
Points
similar-
Community. Now, again, this is an unofficial channel. This is not the official YouTube channel for them. However, partners of the show elevate Breaking Points to another level, and they tag everybody.
Yep.
Again,
including Max. So
that's
brutal. To us, that's what we were working with. So, I kind of believe that, particularly James Lee and Sheraton, that they're getting similar deals here. And I kind of wonder how much the differences are, if there are any. But
I would guess it's tiered based upon, again, the number of appearances, the amount of time they spend. These guys are doing, kind of cut segments and a video clip, and then accompanying that with an appearance with it. That seems like a lot of work for $300, honestly, for a channel that's pretty monetized, for people that have corporate ties to these kind of people and these kind of money behind them. They're funded by the Realignment Podcast. They're funded by the Hudson Institute. They're funded by prior. Again, I don't want to speculate any further, but these Sagar's got wonderful teeth, and he wears beautiful suits, and Crystal is dressed to the nines, and they have their $10,000 desk, and got to upgrade those lights. Got to upgrade those lights.
There was a comment above. Perhaps with BP, the news funding is all crowdsourced. The millions from oligarchs are just used for Crystal to buy more of her Hunger Game dresses.
May the odds ever be in your favor.
Pearl fingers.
May the odds ever be in your favor. So
I would not volunteer as tribute.
Next, we're going to talk some labor and a strike that was actually successful. So, how educators in Brookline, Massachusetts won an illegal strike, right? So, striking has been illegal for public employees since 1919. But educators won nearly all their demands after they walked out on May 16th. Out of a membership of nearly 1,100, more than 900 signed in on the picket lines May 16th. Strike culminated with 1,000 educators descending on town hall for a rally with allies from around the state. Yeah. So this is actually from Maggie Keniff. She was actually one of the members who did execute the strike and one of the members of the union. So wanted to spotlight this. This was in Labor Notes back about a week ago, 10 days ago. Bargaining team negotiated into the early hours of the next morning. When the sun rose, they had won 2 back-to-back 3-year contracts with guaranteed prep periods for all educators, a fair pay raise, including important changes to longevity structures and language aimed at attracting and retaining a more diverse workforce. In short, they won all their demands with minimal compromise. Perhaps more important, they ended a cycle of disrespect and showed that they are willing to take collective action. Yes! I think that elected officials will think twice about messing with the teachers now that they saw what we could do by sticking together, said school librarian Dominique Gagnier. The school committee made themselves look bad to the voters, and public opinion shifted in our favor. So, lifting the curtain to understand how the Brookline Educators Union built the capacity to break the law and strike, you have to look back a few years. Since 2016, we've been through 2 superintendents and 3 interim superintendents, the result of rash attempts to impose an untenable, data-driven model of schooling on our educators and students. What's going on here? Despite all the turnover, the school committee, like a school board, was steadily growing more combative during the negotiations. To expose this behavior, we pushed to open bargaining to members and the public. In 2019, we won a step in that direction, the right to have 12 silent representatives at the bargaining table. Throughout the bargaining process from 2019 to 2022, more than 100 rank-and-file members served as silent representatives, bearing witness to management's blatant bad faith bargaining. Quote, I witnessed the demeanor, tactics, and commentary of the school committee's lawyer, said social studies teacher Susan Bellow. That's when I knew I had to join the contract action team. I mean, this is the haves versus the have-nots in management versus labor all day long. Yeah, this person says here, being a silent rep gave me tremendous appreciation of how difficult it was to be on the negotiations team, and I no longer questioned them. If, in their judgment, we needed a work action, whatever that might be, I would support them. So by sitting in on these committees, it's actually convincing the workers that the people representing them are actually representing them, and they'll go strike if they say we need to strike. This is good. Then they're ramping up here. So in the spring of 2021, school committee proposed a 0% raise for the 2021 school year. They came back in September 21 with slightly more money, but proposed to weaken their grievance rights and added a demand for a 30-minute longer workday without additional pay. Why? Why are they getting more for nothing? Why are they having to give just to be able to keep your jobs? This doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, we were proposing fair cost of living adjustments, stronger measures to attract and retain educators of color, a planning period for every educator every day, and a joint committee to expose inequities and excesses in job expectations. I don't think there's anything unreasonable about any of that. The school committee ignored these proposals and offered no counters, then forced us into state mediation by claiming impasse. We already had been doing work to rule action, a canvassing campaign, visibility rallies, and leafleting. Do you see? Okay, is everybody writing this down? Is everybody writing? Take notes. Work to rule action, a canvassing campaign, visibility rallies, and leafleting. When mediation started, we realized it was time to ramp up. We shifted the role of our contract action team to coordinating a broader action team of 200 highly engaged members. What did they do? We mapped out an action escalation, including a public rally, attending a meeting of the select board like a city council to demand funding, and packing the school committee meeting to give testimony showing our outrage. Through these actions, members began to feel that this wasn't just another contract fight. We were out to break a cycle of fear and disrespect. Boom. Then here's the other key, personal outreach. Leading up to the strike vote, we had just a week to reach 1,100 members. We used a central spreadsheet to track how ready each person was to vote yes. Math teacher Julie James said, with each communication, I understood that the personal contact from me was different than getting an email. They identified building leads to get in touch with strike headquarters and picket captains who would stay in touch with 10 members apiece, and we created cross-building partnerships. It all paid off, renewing her faith that when we fight, we can win. But do you see the coordination? Do you see the amount of people? Do you see the amount of structure that there is there?
Yep.
Organization. This is organized, you know, not like the AOC version of organize, but the Freedom Fighters DC, right? Isn't that the organization that Afeni's part of? Fred Hampton organized.
I think, yeah.
This is great. Okay. I wanted to spotlight this because there aren't very many unions and very many strikes that are actually leading to big wins against management. And though that big win was nothing unreasonable at all, the fact that there was a win, so Maggie's a kindergarten teacher, and she's the co-chair of the contract action team.
Okay.
So, big fan. Shout out to Maggie. Shout out to Labor Notes for covering this. And support teachers, support educators. Highly underpaid in every way, shape, and form. Overworked. And as a parent with kids in the public school system, man, we got to take care of these people. We really do. I mean, they have been abused and underpaid and forced vaccinations mostly everywhere around the country, from my understanding, wherever there was a mandate for a vax in order for teachers to go back to work. They've endured masks. They've endured getting sick. They've endured their colleagues dying.
Colin said, Brookline is a high-income suburb next to Boston. It is not surprising that the demands would be met.
Yeah. There's money there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Colin would have plenty to say about that on INN News.
Yep.
But 1,100 educators winning a strike action against their bosses is always a good thing. And it's maybe an indicator, and maybe it's throwing a bone, like Colin's saying, and maybe it's just like, hey, we'll give them this one in a nice area, and the wealthy kids will get a little bit better stuff, and they'll get better teachers, but the system continues to roll on and not much changes. And I think that's really probably the point that Colin was trying to make, and he's not wrong there at all. Love you, Colin. Care Bear. So,
I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines, and when I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. They both bleed us so dry.
My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say?
So I try to...
I enjoy it. I like it better than anything